Hello, welcome in. How are you today? I hope you are well. My name is Sarah, and this is Cajun Lantern, where I channel messages from Spirit. And I welcome you. If this title spoke to you in some way and you decided to watch this video, trust that there is something here for you. I have put a serious intention upon this video that those who needed to hear this material at this specific time, that those would be the ones that would see this video and be drawn in by it. So welcome. And we're going to get right into the energy reading. I'm speaking with someone who's gone on an inner quest for something. There's parts of you that need attention, excuse me, in order to move forward on this path. You are being called to explore possibly things that have titles that may be daunting. For instance, the first card that came up for you was the shaman. Now, a shaman can also be something of like a sorcerer or the magi, however you pronounce it, or the medicine woman. And there are three ingredients that need to happen for the shaman to become a shaman. First, they're activated by long-standing and diligent study. Also, it is accurately aimed toward healing the self. And thirdly, the shaman has a knack for finding doorways to the other worlds, allowing psychic visions and old magic to come into the world that you currently live in. Okay? And in this way, the shaman is a master who will be able to communicate and be a bridge between the unseen worlds and a bridge to the everyday. All right? I want to be very careful with my wording because being a shaman is not something that we just say that we are. There is a period of study. There is initiatory things that one must go through. And so I don't want to minimize the gravity of being called forward to become a shaman. And certainly there are just practices that shamans use that we can also use. So that might be something that some of you are very interested in, especially if you clicked on this video. So this card reminds us that the force of healing, it's not ultimately our own. It's something that we must shape and share with the world. Notice the snake imagery. And when I think of a snake, I often think of the transformative qualities that it has. It can shed its skin and morph or transform into something new. And oftentimes, I know with the shamanic journey, there's often a period of time where someone might go through an illness. They might be struck by lightning or have some other kind of catastrophe or tragedy that maybe they shouldn't have lived through, and they did. And so that gives the people surrounding that person the knowledge that this person has a gift to offer to the rest of the people. And the shaman can't be rushed working with this archetype requires study and perseverance. So think of it like marinating. The content that this person studies, it has to really soak into every fiber of their very being. It's something that they become, the medicine man, the medicine woman. And contrary to popular belief, The shaman archetype appears in every vocation. So if you're a teacher, like a director of some kind of program, surgeons, politicians, writers, poets, those are just some of the faces that a shaman can wear. Okay, so when we think of shamans, we often think of, like the old medicine woman, or like some sort of witch doctor kind of person. And while that is accurate, there's also modern roles for these kinds of people. So the shaman, that's the part of you that needs attention. They're asking you to really delve into what this would entail, especially if there's parts of you that resonate with the things that shamans bring to humanity. All right. And so for the next card, for where the place that this happens, well, you got the forest card. So this is the setting for the journey that you are on, and it is the backdrop or the stage where the energy is surrounding the situation. So let us look at what the guidebook says for the forest. This could also be called the woods, the thicket, the jungle. And you're being asked to think of your earliest memories of being in a forest. It was probably a little bit scary, dark, unknown. Maybe you had a little bit of enchantment toward it or fear, but you were always thinking probably that there's something pretty cool around the bend, right? Something mythical. And that is the magic of the forest. And it requires first that we enter the forest and then that we get lost within that forest. So there's not a path that goes straight through, right? If you think of a forest, there's lots of rambling paths that go into different directions. Some of them are, grown over, and others have a little bit more of a foot trail depending on the terrain. Soon enough, you will be on what is known as the pathless path. There are tricksters, dense foliage, and entanglement on the path, but there's also glimmers of fairy light and friends among the trees. You're on an adventure at this time, and there's no turning back, so it's time to embrace the dim light and the moving shadows. So whether this is literal or just your imagination, it's time to brave the forest, the unknown, and to get lost in getting found. Getting lost and getting found. Interesting. So magical, whimsy, childlike wonder, adventure. So the hunter, the maiden, the crone, and the shaman, they make regular appearances in the forest. So these two cards work together beautifully. This tells me that there's a synchronicity here. There is a partnership between the shaman and the forest cards, according to the person who developed this deck. So the shaman makes regular appearances in the forest. It says, don't be surprised if the cards come out together, and let the narrative reveal itself. And the cards, they came out together. If you get out of the forest without feeling lost, you were only in a little grove of trees. The greatest archetypal forest requires we spend at least one night frightened for our lives. Some of you might have been going through that experience, or maybe you're in the thick of it now. And usually that's when the call to explore our life path, that's when that comes forward for us. It's like any movie or any good book. There will be the hero will just be living their life, and then something happens to them where they can't go back to the way it was. And so kicking and screaming, they have to go down this new path. And so that's kind of what's happening for you at this time. If you clicked on this video, it was because the intention was that you would find it so that it would help wake you up to what is happening to you, and that there's a bigger purpose than this thing happening in your, let's just call it 3D life, the life that you've always just thought. But there's something far bigger for you. And this is a sign for you. This is a message from the universe to you that there's something far greater for you in this life, something that you came here to fulfill. All right? So that forest, yes, it can be considered scary, fearful, the unknown. The sounds may not be something we're used to hearing. The idea of being cold or wet, metaphorically, if you've ever camped outside or been stuck somewhere where you had to stay in place, shelter in place, and you didn't have your proper shelter, that was really kind of scary, right? But there's a reason for that. And notice the guidebook said if you can only spend one night frightened in the forest, that's going to be all you need, right? To understand where this could get far worse. But it doesn't have to be that way. Universe often sends things our direction that feel very uncomfortable because we've gotten too comfortable. And something needs to end in our lives. Now, at the time, it may seem very grievous, especially at this time right now. We're going through an eclipse season. And during an eclipse season, that is the time that transformation happens for us. And it is very intense, and often it's something that is irreversible, and we cannot go back to how things were. So if this is coming across to you in August of 2026, it's very likely that you've experienced something brought forth by this eclipse. And really, it's out of your hands. If the universe wants something to happen for you, even if you are not on your best path to make that thing happen, there are things that need to happen for you. You came here for a reason. And sometimes we get mired down with everyday life and forget, or simply don't know, that we have a much bigger purpose. And so if this video came to you, this is what's happening for you. There is a bigger purpose for you. All right. So what kind of tools will you have? The tools that you are going to have so that your story can unfold is like a key. Notice it says the offering. All right. So let me go ahead and read to you what that is about. Very interesting. This is a very mystical, initiatory experience that is very serious, but also extremely beautiful. The gift, knowing that universe backs you and wants you to explore this shamanistic medicine man, medicine woman, healer. Some of you have been healing your whole lives, just being your friend or being a daughter or a son or some figure in someone's life. You are instrumental in someone's life. You have changed them. That's why you're being called now. So the offering, what that looks like, it's a gift, a present, or a sacrifice. And this offering card carries a clear as day message. It's a call to action. As you may have guessed, it is now time for something to be given and given up for the sake of the bigger picture. So if nothing comes to mind immediately, though it's likely that it will, Take time in meditation to consider what must be offered and who is to receive it. It's likely you'll feel attachment and hesitancy. You'll make excuses, but recognize the link between the word sacrifice and the word sacred. One leads to the other. When we offer up something to the greater good, we lighten our load and become more able to serve. Imagine for a moment if you were to offer your whole self unconditionally to the world. For now, start small. So this is generosity, donating your time, volunteering, but we're not giving expectations, not giving with expectation of getting something in return, right? We're not keeping track of something. Like, I gave this much, now it's your turn to give this much, kind of a thing. And then some of you might be familiar with Odin. Odin, who gave his eye in order for enlightenment. That was in Norse mythology. And also it brings out that Gandhi gave up speaking for once a day, or I apologize, once a week. Gandhi gave up speaking for an entire day so that he could immerse himself in divine silence. So maybe that's another way, giving up maybe just things that distract us, not scrolling so much and looking inward for answers instead of maybe looking outward so much. And if there's a gift that you've been thinking of giving someone special, now is the time. Now's the time to give that gift. So by giving of ourselves, it's the key so that our destiny can unfold. We're giving parts of ourselves, but it's not going to be a work that is necessarily difficult for us. This is something that maybe has been sitting within you that you've always wanted to do. Now is the time. You are being initiated, okay? With that eclipse happening, there's going to be lots of things that really shake us to the core, and parts of our lives that may have been very difficult for us. This is kind of one of those time periods that things can just sort of dissipate. The job that was maybe bringing us a lot of misery, maybe our manager gets replaced by someone who's more fair. And then that makes our whole work environment so much easier to deal with. Or it could be such a thing where your roommate that never pays the bills on time, that leaves a mess, whatever. Maybe they end up moving in with their new girlfriend, boyfriend, and you know, might have to scramble to cover the bills for a few months, but you're by yourself and you're able to get things to where you want them. And you're able to make other choices, right? There could be lots of things that this could be reflecting of. Okay, and so the last card in this spread is Gnosis. And this is why. Why did this happen? This is the deeper purpose of this journey. It's like a mystic theme, or it's a challenge that you might be facing, all right? Gnosis, what the whole journey is about, is innermost knowing. It's mystic truth. True knowledge is not found in facts and in figures, in scholarly books on a library shelf. Rather, Gnosis points to the deep and timeless archetypal wisdom that rises from the felt experience of having touched the unknown with every one of the senses. Those who are drawn to Gnosis find themselves in esoteric studies, likely involving mysticism, alchemy, healing, or perhaps science. Knowing is their calling. Not knowing is their job description. No matter how far the alchemists take their studies, they come to the ultimate conclusion that facts slip toward mystery, and soon the mystery results in facts. This card signifies a knowing that is life-changing. Once you experience it, you are forever changed and become a guardian of Gnosis. The eternal mystery is calling you. Study your passion in the deepest way available to you. So we're contemplating the mysteries of the world, of the universe. There's unanswerable questions that we're still intrigued by. But we're not over intellectualizing or over literalizing. And instead of asking others what to do, how to do it, we are coming to the place where we can sit and think for ourselves. Now, that's not to say that you can't look for answers or in videos like the video you're watching right now, but you're being asked to allow yourself to sit in what you do know, because right now is a wonderful time for those of you who do have some psychic gifts and psychic abilities. Perhaps you're an empath, or you just have that deep, solid intuition that maybe you've allowed yourself to listen to, which is fabulous. Continue doing that. Continue honing those skills. That is knowledge. And what is right for you may not be right for somebody else, but if it's right for you and it's not harming anyone, in fact, you feel more like yourself, trust that. A lot of times we've been conditioned to believe that the things that make us who we are, unless they fit in some sort of a clearly labeled box, that they're not good or that they're not okay. Now is a time, a very magical, mystical time, where we're being called back to ourselves. And I know that the people that I'm speaking to, if you're still here, this message has resonated for you because it means something to you. Trust the information that comes through. I have been called by Spirit to record this message for whoever needs to hear it at this time. I invite all who are still here to consider subscribing and commenting below, and let me know if you are on the other end of coming through that dark night of the soul. Because if you came across this message, Spirit knows that you are looking for an answer to help you to find the way forward for you, because you've got big work to do. And you know this. You feel the calling. You know it as much as you know your own name. It's been within you. And now is the time to let it out. So I thank you so much for sticking with me to the very end. And I hope that you'll join me again for another message real soon. Have a great day. Bye.